Hey y'all, happy Lunar New Year. It is the year of the Yin Wood Snake. And I thought to talk about the intersections between what Bazi astrology and tropical astrology are saying about the year of 2025. So yeah, let's get into it. Hey cosmic cuties, it is your friendo, the lady Miss Vagina Jenkins, and I'm back with another time for queer astrology video. And in this one, we're going to be talking about the intersection between Chinese Bazi astrology and tropical or Western astrology and what that means for what patterns we might see emerging for 2025. This is definitely one of those videos where I'm more talking out my ideas, and so I would love to hear from you in the comments about anything that sort of sparks a sense of resonance or any place where you want to gently push back, because once again, this is one of those times where I get to talk about ideas as I am learning and synthesizing new information. So thank you in your gentle witnessing of me trying to figure it out. That is one thing about me and this channel that I definitely want to share with y'all, is that I don't have a desire to always be right. I don't have a desire to be an expert, and I'm not afraid of being seen trying to figure it out. And neither should you be. Get out there and make some mistakes, ho. I also want to pause here to name the fact that I'm saying Lunar New Year instead of Chinese New Year, because from what I understand that there are a number of countries like Singapore, Malaysia, Korea, Vietnam that also celebrate Lunar New Year, so that's why I'm using that language. Okay, let's get into it. So, Lunar New Year. It is the year of the Yin Wood Snake. And I want to talk about each one of those elements separately and synthesize some ideas that I've been playing with. So when I think about yin energy, I definitely think about the more nurturing kind of energy. I also think about the more surreptitious kind of energy and lots of other qualities, but these are the qualities that I want to name because I'm trying to create a sort of Venn diagram in my brain that intersects the qualities of yin, the qualities of wood, the qualities of the snake. Yes to this nurturing, surreptitious, adaptive, malleable, kind of go with the flow type energy of yin energy. Oh, which I just want to pause just for a second and talk about, this is a whole video in and of itself, and if you know, you know. But the Western concept of yin and yang is very, very different. In the West, I see it used to reify and justify gender binaries. But then when I understand it more in its actual cultural perspective, yin and yang is about the non-binariness of life and the fact that these things are a interdependent circle. So yeah, yin, wood, snake, that is the yin part. When I think about the wood part and the way that it fits into this Venn diagram that I'm creating in my brain, I very much think about the qualities of wood that are also flexible, a tree swaying in the breeze. The way that wood is also an experience of nurturing, in that it's about this experience of growth, slow growth over time. It feels very yin to me. Also associated with creativity. And I believe that wood is associated with creativity because in Chinese Bazi astrology, wood nurtures fire. And in tropical astrology, fire is so much about creativity. So even before you can get to the fiery creativity, you need that wood as the foundation to be able to burn brightly in your creativity. And then we come to the snake part of this Venn diagram that I am building in my brain. So I am a snake. I am a yin fire snake. Everything I have ever read about the snake archetype from Bazi astrology, as well as the rat. I really resonate with the rat archetype as well. But yeah, everything that I've read about the snake archetype absolutely resonates with me. And so some of those qualities that are often named are that snakes are clever or observant, kind of like that move in silence kind of vibe.
Bitch, real G's move in silence like lasagna.
There's also the ways in which like snakes shed their skin and so can be emblematic of transformation. There's also the way that snakes move in this kind of wave formation. And so the snake archetype also feels very mutable, go with the flow-ish to me. Now, mind you, I am not a Chinese astrologer, so I don't understand the full Bazi system of things. And that system is incredibly complicated. Like what elements are involved, and there's like 5 or 6 different elements, what particular like yin yang, and then also the 12 animals, and the different pillars and houses. It's very, very complicated. That is not my specialty, but I will tell you that I absolutely recommend Daria from Red Rabbit Astrology. Check out their website. They're also on Instagram. Yeah, I have worked with them before, and they are very well versed in Bazi astrology. And so if you are ever curious about how that works, definitely check out their website, because they offer workshops, learning opportunities, and of course, personal readings. When I think about all of those qualities, the yin, the wood, the snake, all combined in this Venn diagram that I have created in my brain, that center part of the Venn diagram feels a lot like the astrology transits for 2025 that I was already talking about in that previous video that I did last month, I think it was. And it feels like revolution. And what I mean by that is the qualities of revolution that are rooted in organizing, care, protection, and connection. As a reminder, the tropical astrology transits that I was particularly intrigued by for 2025, one, the Pluto and Aquarius transit, which technically happened at the tail end of 2024, but I think it sets the stage for 2025. And then there's also the transit of Neptune moving into Aries, which happens March 30th, and Saturn entering into Aries on May 24th. And when I think about those transits, I feel like when I talked about it in the previous video that I made a couple weeks ago, I didn't have the clarity that I have now. So things have shifted a bit. Just letting you know in case you're like, wait, that's not what you said before. But yeah, when I think about these transits, now that I have a little bit more clarity, yes, to Pluto in Aquarius asking us to transform society as a whole by like disrupting current structures, authorities, hierarchies, that kind of thing. But where I feel like I have shifted my thinking is on the Neptune in Aries part. I am now considering Neptune in Aries as, yes, what you dream of and would like to fight for, but what if the strategy for making war, and I'm using the word war because of Aries' association with war, and literally the Greek god of war being named Aries. But yeah, if we're thinking about Neptune in Aries, maybe not as war, maybe as organizational strategy for the revolution. That is a big old phrase. But yeah, if we're thinking about that Neptune in Aries as an organizational strategy for revolution making and for changing things dramatically, like the way that Pluto and Aquarius wants us to do, it's a much more softer experience of Aries. And so what if this is the feeling of the veil being lifted? What if this is about getting so for real about the ways in which our individual autonomy and agency has been taken from us, and also the ways in which we allowed ourselves to have that taken from us, and the ensuing learned helplessness that we experience? But either way, yes to this feeling of the lifting of the veil and understanding the ways in which we have not been allowed our own autonomy as individuals, much less as a collective. Oh, and I'll pause for a second and just say that it's really, really interesting to me as well. So many of the planetary transits that I think are going to be significant to this year, as well as the current placements, are happening in Pisces, Aries. And I said this in the last video, but it is very much the feeling of the beginning of the end, you know, because Pisces being the last sign of the zodiac, Aries being the first. So yes to this endings, and let's get our endings taken care of so we can move into new beginnings. But we gotta get the endings done first. Clean house, start fresh, hopefully in a way that serves humanity as a whole, not like just the few oligarchs at the top. Which, dang, how are we still doing this? At this point in human evolution, how is it that we just keep repeating this pattern? Don't start me. Oh, also, hey, look, and my little snake friend. I wanted to wear them because of, you know, the wood snake of it all. The last tropical astrology transit that I felt was particularly impactful was the Saturn in Aries part. So once again, Aries, you know, what was the phrase that I used? Not war, but the organizing for the revolution kind of vibes. When I think about Saturn being in that kind of energy, it feels very much like get your ducks in a row. And I don't mean that in a fear-mongering, you know, prepper kind of way, though I gotta say, you know, but I do mean that in the very real way of organizing ourselves. Each person understanding, yes, their own individual agency and autonomy, but that they must have a role in the revolution in some kind of way. And I think past versions of organizing and activism have been rooted in direct action, you know, the marches, the sit-ins, that kind of thing. But with a militarized police force, with endless amounts of funding, that strategy is no longer particularly useful. And what would it be like to diversify based on the individual and the individual understanding that, yes, I am part of society, and that my unique, authentic way of being is valuable and necessary to the revolution. And then just one last little note about the tropical astrology of it all. Right now, I think it's particularly interesting that Mars is retrograding. So anytime there is a retrograding planet, I think about an opportunity to pause, reconsider, reevaluate, edit, and change the ways in which we have done things in the past. And with Mars being retrograde right now, we get this opportunity to look at the ways in which direct action has gone down in the past, evaluate if that can continue to work in this new, modern, heavily militarized police force context. We also get an opportunity to look at the past not only in terms of direct action, which is one type of Mars confrontational energy, but there's also this Yin Wood Snake kind of Mars type energy, which I think of as the energy of strategic war making, or strategic organizing for the revolution kind of making. I think that's the point. That is the point where I synthesize both of these things, where I'm thinking about the intersection of, yes, Neptune, Saturn, Aries, Mars, retrograde, Pluto in Aquarius, and Yin Wood Snake kind of energy. And when I'm putting both of these together, it feels like strategy. It feels like that snake quality of being observant, of sidewinding, of sticking to the tall grass and avoiding the open plains. It makes me think about seed dispersal. I remember, I'm a little bit of a biology geek. I love a good nature documentary. I remember seeing a documentary once that was talking about how snakes are one of the most important agents of seed dispersal, particularly in prairie grassland kind of places, because mice eat the seeds, snakes eat the mice, and as those mice are digested by the long, slow digestive tract of a snake, those seeds become, I don't know if tenderized is the word, but the thing where there's an outer coating of the seed that's very hard and hardy, and it needs to sort of be softened in order for the embryo within the seed to be able to bloom, right? And so, yeah, it's the seeds go, or the mice with the seeds in it goes through the snake's digestive tract, and they come out on the end with fertilizer and a softened exterior ready to do their growth thing, which again, growth and wood. And so what is it like to embody that energy? Yes, the feeling of body rolls. The snake, if you are old enough, if you remember that dance from the 80s. But yeah, what is it like to embody this experience of understanding that we are at the beginning of the end, that we have this opportunity to transform society for the better for everyone, that we could structure ourselves, Saturn and Aries, and get committed to the work of organizing with each other. Like, that's very much the Saturn and Aries type vibe. And all of that rooted in understanding clearly the Neptune and Aries part of removing the veil, getting clear on the ways in which we each have autonomy and agency, authenticity, or authentic experiences to offer to the revolution and organizing. And then how do we combine that with the Yin Wood Snake part, the part where we nurture and take care of each other, the ways in which we understand that creativity is an organizing strategy, ways in which we understand that flexibility is important, the ways in which we understand that you can't move always in a straight line, that sometimes it takes that surreptitious kind of movement, moving in the shadows, moving in silence, being quiet about your organizing. Also, the part about snakes shedding their skin and transformation. Like, I don't know, it just seems so significantly aligned, you know? So for real, I have yapped long enough, and this is the absolute place where I want to hear from you. What do you think about this synthesis of the ideas? Have you thought of something different that feels like a pushback against, you know, what I've sort of laid out here? Or are we on the same page, and what would you add to it? Yeah, do you get the vibe of we're at the beginning of a significant ending, which is going to allow us, hopefully, fingers crossed, to move into a new beginning that serves everybody, not just a few oligarchs? And also, for people that are astrology enthusiasts or astrologers, are there other transits that I should make myself aware of that sort of support this theory of a revolution based not on war and destruction, but on organization? care and getting serious about our responsibility to each other. Please tell me about it in the comments below. Not as an algorithm thing, but because I really want to be in conversation with you. I feel like I say that all of the time, but I do want to hear from you. I never want to feel like I have a YouTube channel where I'm the star who gets to yap at you. I can't. My work is not about lifting up myself. My work is very much about just allowing myself to exist authentically on the internet and share my ideas and to be in community and conversation with you all. That's what my work is. Speaking of work, if you would like to support my work in continuing to make these videos for you all and release them every Wednesday, please consider becoming a member of this channel. Membership starts at $3.99 a month, and you get really cool perks like custom emojis, loyalty badges. You get to see content before it's released to the general public, and it's an amazing way to support your favorite Black queer autistic astrologer. And if the monthly commitment feels like outside your capacity, absolutely understand. Please consider a one-time tip using that thanks button below. And if neither of those options feel like they're within your capacity, please know that I absolutely understand, and that your comments, that you're liking my videos, that you're sharing my videos to all your peoples, that matters to me in terms of support as well, and is incredibly valuable. That's how you can support me, and I hope that this video feels somewhat like support for you. If it doesn't, let me know. Let me know. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for engaging with my content. And of course, as always, thank you for making time for queer astrology. Happy New Year!